Hi, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Something that I want to talk about today is selling your art. And although it's intimidating, I really strongly encourage every artist to give it a chance because it's such a moment to say, oh my God, somebody paid for my art. I still remember my first piece and I felt so proud of myself. So it just felt so exciting for somebody that isn't close to me to believe in my art enough to monetize me for it. So with that, whether you're just starting to sell your art, I've been there. It can be overwhelming, but I hope that these little tips can help you navigate it a little bit better. So there are several different ways you can sell your art. You can sell it through word of mouth, through markets, gallery, and online, social media, and a website. So I think it's really important to choose where you want to sell your work. I was a student in college, I just started. And through my time of being a student, I always told people that I'm an artist. I think my Instagram always showed it, even though it was a personal Instagram. Eventually, I switched over to a business account where I leverage the Instagram tools to help my performance and have a better reach of audience. Sometimes when you're starting out, you might not be willing to sell your work just quite yet, and you're doing mostly commission based. But knowing for sure what you stand for and what you're doing is so important because you need to know how to sell yourself is one. So are you selling originals? Are you selling prints? Are you selling commission based? Be upfront about what you're selling for and have it known. I would post stories, post of saying, hey, during Mother's Day, I'm going to be doing commission pieces. If anybody's interested, reach out. And then the people that would reach out and let them know my price point and so forth. And it's really important to also create a website or a portfolio page. When I was a student, Adobe was given to us for free and we had access to certain of the domains. So I laid it on Adobe Portfolio. I believe it's called my portfolio.adobe. And I had Adobe and it was really easy how to upload my photos. And it's really important to take good quality pictures of your work and have even like a contact page where people can find you. And that's where I had an inquiry page actually, where I asked people, hey, do you have a project in mind that you'd like me to work on? Because sometimes people have the idea, they just don't know how to execute it. So having a website where they can view your previous work and it being a reflection of what you're currently working on and what you offer and a little bit about you, because people want to know your story, especially if people don't know you that well. They want to know that they can trust you. And trust is so important in selling your work because then they're excited about supporting somebody, especially with the potential and the background that they can relate to, or just in instances, people just want to support others. And I think that's really awesome. And don't get too in your head about having like the perfect portfolio or website because it's always going to be evolving. The fact that you have one is amazing. And if not, get started on that and learn about different websites. So now that you figured out what you're selling, where you're selling it, and now it's time to make business cards. Business cards are so worth it. Business cards are so great. They're the first impression most of the time. And if you're at a market or if you're just meeting new people, you feel so fancy saying, here's my card. I'm imposter syndrome at its finest when I would give somebody my card and I would like look at their reaction like, are you impressed? I have a business card. Especially when I was 21, I remember being like, who am I? And I'm definitely serving Steve Jobs today. So I don't know. At the time, it was, oh my God, it was grand. It was incredibly a grand experience. That's all I can say. But also with the business cards, don't overthink it. You're always evolving. You're always going to get better. And what's really important is just having a way for people to contact you and your platforms and your name and a logo. I grabbed my little card holder. It's just so important to have it. And it looks so nice. Like it's leather, it feels really soft. And then you have your business cards. I created this, I believe in Canva. So it has my name, last name, and there's the logo. Hold on. Is that probably paint, honestly? Okay. So anyways, it has my phone number in the back. It has, let me block it out. It has my phone number, my email, and my website. And there's like some gold in between because I really like gold. So These are my business cards. I like them, but I'm kind of thinking about updating them to have my one of my paintings in the front to showcase what my work looks like and go from there. So now that you have, I always love summarizing things, so I hope that's okay. Now that you have an understanding of what you're selling, where you're selling it, business cards, now you have your commission piece. People reach out to you saying, hey, I'm really interested in you capturing this family portrait and I want it to be in watercolor. Amazing. But hold on a second. Having a contract is so important. You don't need to be an LLC. You don't need to be with a gallery or with a certain business or corporate to have a contract. A contract is there to make sure that there's a dual agreement and an understanding between you and the customer. And I feel like I got my lawyer voice on it. But essentially, it's a great way to protect yourself and your client. It's really important for you to have a timeline that clearly states when you'll be submitting the piece. And also, it's really great to have what payments you accept and the number of revisions you're able to offer, the delivery method, and all those little details that you overlook when you're excited. Because when you are having your first few sales, simply, it's a great big milestone that you have achieved. You work so hard for somebody to trust you with their hard-earned money to say, hey, create me a piece. And I'm so excited for it. So it's a great way to have, and it's just really important to protect yourself. I'm communicating to you what I understand you want, and that is all in writing. I've had clients where I had an appointments with them to just go through the contract where I list my expectations of what they need to offer me by what time. So if somebody said, hey, I want you to make me a commission piece by next week, and they send you a really blurry photo of their family, how am I supposed to do that? Okay, that is hard. And if they said, well, you said you would do it, and it's kind of like, well, was it given that you would send me a good quality photo so I know what I'm drawing? Okay. Now, going forward, communication is key. So if the client has any questions about your contract, it's so important to professionally and clearly respond in a timely manner. And I always try to respond 24 hours or less and set expectations on how long a piece takes, what your preference of communication is. I personally always go through the email round. I just love having the time to think things through and respond accordingly. And don't undervalue yourself by feeling so stressed out. Like you have to respond in a minute, give yourself 24 hours. So I think I covered that enough. Contracts are important, okay? And also, don't ghost people. And now that you have known what you're selling, you know where you're selling it at, you have your business cards, you have a contract, you're communicating effectively, now pricing. And that is a tricky aspect. Some people price their work based on different formulas, and I can't tell you a specific number. It's never going to be the right formula. I did so much studying about it's overwhelming me. Pretty much, it's really hard for anybody to tell you how much you should set your art for. But here are factors that can help you adjust your pricing accordingly. You have to factor in time. You have to factor in the years you've been an artist. So if you were in a corporate job, they're giving you a project. Somebody who's newer, it will take them longer, but they're cheaper. But somebody who has more experience or over a decade and this and that, they'll require less time, but they're expensive. So keep that in mind. That is really, really helpful because if somebody who's a newer artist getting paid the same as somebody within 10 years, that doesn't make sense. Think about in 5-10 years, how much money would you like to earn? And what is it realistically now? Also factor in the material use and the size and your skill set. Not everybody hones in on the same skill set you have. Some mediums are more forgiving than others. So it can all add up. I definitely underpriced my work at the beginning, and this is a common story, unfortunately, with a lot of artists, because we get so excited about the sale and the interest and that validation. We tend to overlook ourselves because we want to keep that validation going and hoping that people will be so impressed by our pricing that they'll keep going. However, they might view it as I hate to say it, they might view it as a garage sale rather than like a luxury to have. So they're like, ah, yeah, $25, sure. Yeah, here you go. And they won't think much of it. However, that's my personal opinion. You don't have to take it. Pricing can be like a weird topic to think about, but avoid pricing from fear is all I have to say. And if somebody can't afford what your pricing is, offer them something that is more affordable, like prints or smaller scale. So I had somebody that wanted a really big piece, but once I said my price, they said, okay, maybe something smaller. So instead of 30 by 32, they wanted something like 8 by 10, and that met their budget. And it was beautiful. And I was able to give it to them with confidence without it feeling like I'm underselling myself or not taking them as a customer. So it really all depends. And now that you're selling, you have to think about packaging. So definitely invest in a protective mailers or box. So depending if you're selling a canvas or rolling up a print, you have to definitely make sure you're packaging everything accordingly and look into USPS, UPS, FedEx for reliable shipment. And I think it's so fun to brand your packaging. Throughout my pieces, whenever I deliver or package or anything, I always love having like little pieces that show my brand. However, those do take some time and effort and money that a starting artist might not have. So that's totally okay. That's something I built on throughout my time, but always include a business card. And I personally think like a thank you little card is a must because how cool is it that they picked you as an artist? I'm always so, so thankful because I love capturing memories that couples or families have had and in a special way that's going to be everlasting. That brings me so much joy. So for me, I always show my gratitude and say thank you because it's so amazing that they trusted you with this. It's also really important to keep on being active on social media. So throughout all these like commission pieces, I would post, oh my God, like so thankful for this order, or like a funny story that went throughout this commission piece that I enjoyed. Like a recent commission that I did was for Mother's Day. And it was a funny story because originally I had a bird and then we decided it would be really funny to do a chipmunk. And she had a really personal story behind it that I felt so honored she shared it with me. But through that, I thought that would be a really compelling story to share with social media and my audience. And I think it's just really fun to also capture your highlight moments. And then with that, track your income and expenses. Even if you're not making that much, get used to tracking it. It's really important to know what you're working on. It's also important to kind of hone in on what avenue worked the most. So if you're selling online markets or word of mouth and this and that, you can tell which brought you better income. And that is easier said than done. Being an artist, sometimes it's really hard to feel like documenting everything you just want to be doing and you want to get it done with. But it's so important to do that. I use Sheets on Google and I always have that in mind. And when it comes tax time, you'll really be glad that you did that. And I think those are my main points. And, mindset really matters. You are an artist, and I'm so proud of you for selling your work. And I wish I could tell this to my earlier self. Don't be a perfectionist about everything. You learn as you go and have grace with yourself. It's a really exciting time, and I'm really proud of you again. So I hope you found this helpful. And I guess one last tip is make sure you keep on building relationships, not just customers. I want to build that connection with the people that buy my art because I think they're so cool. And I think it's so important to have those relationships so then you can keep up with them and what they're up to. I also love to see where my art ends up being and where it's displayed. And then if they really like you, they might continue back to you for another gift or another wall art and keep you in mind for any other opportunities that may come. So with that, officially, thank you so much for being here and give yourself grace and you got this. If you found this helpful, Please subscribe and like and all that jazz because I really want to grow my channel, and it would just mean a lot to me to know that this video resonated with some of you. So thank you so much. Have a great day.